Welcome back to Legacy Labs. Today we're going to talk about content, specifically why content can get engagement and still fail to build memory. That's the difference I want to focus on today. Because a post can get likes, it can get comments, it can get shares, it can do really well, it can perform really well, but that does not mean that people know what to remember about that post or your brand or your company or whatever. Engagement tells you people reacted. Memory tells you whether the content is building recognition over time, and that's where a lot of content systems break. So the surface problem. So this is what it looks like. So you post something, people like it, they make comment, they might repost it. The numbers look good, but on the surface, on the surface, the content worked, but then a few days later, nothing really builds from it. People react to the post, but they still don't understand the larger system. They don't know what you do. They don't know what problem you solve. They don't know what you associate with. They don't know what you associate your account with. So the content doesn't move, and it just doesn't move in the moment. You didn't build any memory, and that's the problem. So what do creators usually try? So creators try to they post more, they use more hooks, trends, different formats, more graphics, more platforms, more topics, more attempts to recreate the posts that perform well, and sometimes that helps. Good hooks do matter. Good formats do matter. Posting consistently also matters. But if the content system has no stable signal, more posting is not going to automatically create clarity. It could just give more places for confusion to appear. And that's the structural break. So if you guys watch the branding videos, very, very similar mechanics. Not entirely the same, but very similar. So the structural break. The structural break is simple. Engagement is not the same as recognition. A post can perform well and still fail the larger system. That's what happens when the audience reacts and the content does not retain the meaning. They may like the post, they might agree with it, they might even think it's smart. But if they can't connect it back to your larger promise, pattern, or identity, the post stays isolated. It becomes a moment, not a memory. And that's why content systems can feel active but unstable. The account is moving, the audience is reacting, but the meaning is not stacking. So here's a simple example. So let's pretend we have a creator account called the Signal Room. So the Signal Room helps founders and creators turn scattered ideas into clear public systems. So let's say they post three things. So they post a funny one about burnout, they post a tactical one about writing better hooks, and a thoughtful one about building trust online. So each post might work by itself, but the funny post might get replies, the hook post might get saves, the trust post might get shares, but the structural question is: do all three of these posts train the audience to remember the same thing? That's the question. Some people think that it's a burnout account. Some people might think it's a copywriting account. Some people might think that it's a general creator advice account. That's the problem. If your content does not all connect, if your content doesn't connect to the larger system, the memory is unstable. The audience isn't going to know what to remember, and it's not because the posts are bad. It's just there's no system underneath. So the narrative architecture read. So in narrative architecture, we always ask different questions. So we start with the pulse. What is the content system trying to really carry? For the Signal Room, the pulse could be scattered ideas need structure before they become recognizable. That's the core signal. Everything else should connect back to that. The pressure. What tests the content system? Trends, algorithm, speed, audience reaction, the pressure to post daily, the pressure to sound current, the pressure to chase whatever worked the last time. Under pressure, creators often start posting whatever gets reactions. But reactions are not the same as memory, and then inheritance. So inheritance is what we carry forward. What does the account already carry? Old topics, old audiences, old formats, old posts, old positioning, previous versions of the creator. That matters because an audience does not forget instantly. If the account used to be about one thing and now it's becoming about something else, the content has to retrain memory over time. Motif, the repeated ideas. This is where the content system gets stronger. A repeated phrase, a repeated problem, a repeated format, a repeated contrast, a repeated question. For the Signal Room, the motif might be scattered ideas need structure. That repeated idea teaches the audience what the account is about. Memory. What should the audience remember after each post? Not just, was that good? Not just, was that funny? That was funny. Or not just, I agree. The goal is this account helps me understand how to turn scattered ideas into clear systems. That's memory. That's clarity. That's how you build recognition. And rhythm. How does the content move over time? So, post, video, replies, captions, articles, newsletters, offers, every touch point. If every touch point feels disconnected, the audience has to keep reinterpreting you. If the rhythm is stable, the audience already understands the pattern. They know what kind of value to expect. They know what problem you return to, and they know why the account exists. That is how the content becomes a system. So the diagnostic for this one's going to be this. Um, the content may be active, but the audience has not been trained to remember one stable meaning. That is why more engagement does not always create more authority. The audience can react without retraining. They can like without understanding. They can share without remembering. If the content does not build memory, the account has to keep reintroducing itself every time, and that's exhausting. A strong content system makes recognition better over time. So better questions. So instead of asking, did this perform? Let's ask, what did this post preserve? What should the audience remember? What pattern does this strengthen? What promise does this repeat? What does this teach people to expect? What larger system does this post belong to? What would be lost if this post disappeared? What does this build recognition or only a reaction? Those are better questions because the goal is not just to win the post, it's to build a system. So the strategy shift is this. It's very simple. So stop treating content like as isolated posts and start treating content as a memory system. Define the core signal, repeat the main problem that you solve, create recognizable format and language, make every post strengthen the same memory. That doesn't mean that every post sounds identical. It means that every post should sound like it belongs to the same architecture. A content system does not become clear because it posts more. It becomes clear when people know what to remember. So I wrote an article on this on building the memory spine. That's what I like to call it for your content. So that is in the narrative architecture application section. You can check that out. That's in the free section. There's also a paid section in the strategy guides that goes a little bit deeper. Shows you how to map, diagnose, and fix the content memory system. So definitely check that out, and I'll link all this stuff in the descriptions. If you guys have any questions or want to do a diagnostic on your own brand, product, story, relationship, organization, definitely just reach out and we can do that for you. And I'll catch you on the next one. Hope you guys have a good day.